Hello everyone, and welcome to another TI9 team preview. This time we're going to be talking about Chaos Esports Club. Truth be told, the puns write themselves in the Dota 2 universe, as it has been one hell of a chaotic year for the Chaos Esports Club organization. Between a multitude of roster shuffles and even shifting regions from South America to Europe, Chaos has done just about everything possible to try and find the right group of guys to get them to TI. And surprisingly, all of those moving pieces fell into place at just the right time. Not only was the European qualifier weaker than it probably has ever been, but Matumbaman, undeniably the most important free agent of the entire season, fell right into Chaos's lap when they needed him most. But I don't mean to take anything away from the accomplishment of making TI for Chaos Esports Club, because it has been quite the road to get here, and it's definitely a story worth telling. Chaos didn't even exist as an organization in Dota at the very beginning of the year, and so it was surprising to see a North American organization sign a South American squad at the second major of the season. The original roster of HFN, Weehaw, Tavo, King RD, and Misery is a very talented one, and their results at the majors were definitely disappointing. Still, they were able to qualify for 4 straight majors, and even though they played in the weakest region in Dota, that is definitely an accomplishment to be proud of. They added a coach, boot camped in various locations, and even switched around their roles a little bit, and never were quite able to break into the upper echelon of teams. And that's when change starts to be a very viable option. With the final major of the season on the horizon, and with no real solution in sight, Weehaw decided to take a break from competitive Dota. Tavo and King RD were removed from the team, and Chaos Esports Club decided to shift the team to Europe, where Misery would look to build a new successful roster. It took a couple iterations to get it right, but on June 24th, Chaos announced their final roster for TI qualifiers would be VT Faded, Matumbaman, Kezu, Milan, and Misery. Chaos definitely benefited from the rules change this year in the DPC, where the organization gets to keep the points, and as a result, were able to be invited to the closed qualifier instead of running the gauntlet in the opens. This also gave their new group of players a little bit more time to talk strategy and figure out how they wanted to play Dota. Still, just 2 weeks later, they loaded into their very first official match in the TI regional qualifiers against Final Tribe, who beat them handily in a best of 1 in the group stages. Their difficult road continued throughout the group stages, as they found themselves in a 3-way tie just to make it into the bracket stage and still have a chance to qualify for TI. After winning both tiebreaker matches, they ended up in a best of 3 in the upper bracket against the Final Tribe, who beat them 2-1, knocking Chaos down to the lower bracket, where they had to win 3 series facing elimination, culminating in a best of 5 against the Final Tribe in the grand finals. But it seems like this kind of situation brings out the best in Misery, because you may remember in TI6 when he led an unheralded, fairly irrelevant digital Chaos squad to second place at the International. And sure enough, in the TI9 qualifiers with everything on the line, Chaos Esports Club 2-0'd Aachen City Esports, then they 2-0'd Hippomaniacs, and then they rematched against the Final Tribe, who they 3-0'd in the grand finals to earn their spot at TI. Despite the amount of learning that these guys have had to do on the fly, watching their final games in the qualifiers shows quite a bit of promise for Chaos Esports Club. They looked very disciplined under the commanding leadership of Misery, and had an incredible focus on objectives and objective-based gaming with very little wasted movement around the map. It's also abundantly clear that Matumbaman is a special talent in the Dota 2 scene. The former carry player has fully embraced his new mid role and seems to know exactly what he needs to do in every game, regardless of the hero that he's playing. I was also pleasantly surprised by the performance of VT Faded, a player I don't know very much about, but the Malaysian carry player brings a couple of really interesting wrinkles to Chaos's game. Not only is he a mechanically gifted carry player with a wide hero pool, but he seems to be very good at towing the line between the aggression of the Southeast Asian players and the discipline of the Chinese. Having played in both the Chinese region and the SEA region before joining Chaos, Faded could end up being an incredible discovery by Misery. Overall though, Chaos strikes me as a cerebral team, a team that wins primarily through strategy, good planning, and good positioning. This is a bunch of role players, and when Misery sets them up to succeed, they have a very good shot at taking on any of the teams at TI. I'm extremely excited to watch the development of the inter-tournament meta, because this is a team that has a very specific style of play, And if the heroes line up with that style of play, they actually could go much farther than people are giving them credit for. Sounds a little bit like Digital Chaos back in 2016.